show me somebody with huge pecs, he may or may not be weak. Show me somebody with a huge back, and I can tell you for sure that person is strong.
So the first one is, what's your opinion on the notion of incorporating a 2-to-1 pull-to-push ratio for upper body training? I see professionals such as John Rusin swear by it, and others claim it's healthy.
Okay, so 2 parts here. To really answer the question, do you need a certain amount of upper back or back development in order to press safely and effectively? The answer is yes. As far as throwing some arbitrary ratio of saying that you have to do like twice the number of back exercises as you do pressing exercises, it's like, are we comparing apples and oranges here? Are we doing max effort rows? Like, no, you know what I mean? So it's not necessary to do a 2-to-1 ratio of rowing or pulling movements or doing pull-ups and so forth for each pressing movement. I don't think that's necessary, and I would base that on my training for the last year. I did 0 rowing, I did 0 pulling whatsoever for a full year, and it's, you know, you have to point out also that it's a lot easier to maintain muscle than it is to develop muscle. And the same goes for strength. It's a lot easier to maintain strength than it is to develop strength. So when you get to a certain point, I don't think that that is as valid any longer. However, I do think for beginners, it's extremely important to develop a good base of back strength. You know, like the old saying that, like, show me somebody with huge pecs, he may or may not be weak. Show me somebody with a huge back, and I can tell you for sure that person is strong. And that's the truth. I think there is something to that. I don't think that there is any hard and fast rule that you need to stick to in terms of the amount of movements or so forth or exercises per pressing. Because, yeah, again, like I said, are we talking about doing max effort rows? Are you talking about doing like pull-ups with 100 pounds tied to your waist? You know? So how are you coming to that? How are you coming to that 2-to-1? That really is the question. Because when we look at how we're pressing, we're oftentimes pressing in higher percentage ranges, you know, in the 75, 80+% range. Very rarely are we doing rows in the 80+% range. Or are we doing, you know, other back exercises or pulling exercises, like, for example, like certainly weighted pull-ups at 80+%. You know, how often do we max out on doing singles for pull-ups or rows? So to say 2-to-1 is kind of odd. I don't think that that's a hard and fast rule. There's always going to be specific context, you know, for each individual.